Monday, January 13th, 2020.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have minutes there? Here?
You have to call for nominations.
Yes. Calling for nominations for president of the Erie County Commission Board for the year 2020.
Nominate Pat Shanago.
Second.
Second, I nominate Steve Schaffner.
What do we do?
Is there a second for Steve? Is there a second for Pat?
Can I second myself?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I thought I seconded his.
Yeah, I thought he seconded.
I seconded his,
Okay. And then you're nominating for vice president?
President.
Okay.
Okay, so now what do we do, vote?
Close the nominations.
Okay, we close nominations.
President.
But there's, nobody has second
Steve's?
Steve's.
You can't have two,
Oh, so then how does that work?
so let's just vote.
So it'll just,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so voting for Commissioner Shenago for president. Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner,
so I'm not on the ballot, so to speak, correct, because there wasn't a second? So I'll vote yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Shenago.
Yes.
Okay. Now call for nominations for vice president of the commission for 2020.
I'll nominate Matt for vice president.
Second,
Any other nominations? Okay, Mr. Shenago,
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner,
yes?
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Okay, what else do we have to do?
I would do solid waste.
yeah, and that's just all.
Motion to move into solid waste management meeting?
Second,
Mr. Shenago,
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner,
yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
So, who's the first one?
I'll call the solid waste meeting to order. I'll take nominations for, I don't know, is there a vice president for this organization? Take nominations for president.
Well, you're the president, right?
No, it's not. I think it's just as president.
Because you go to Columbus, right?
Yeah, because then it goes
Yeah.
on the previous
All right,
one.
you gotta do it, so I'll make you to be the, continue to be president.
Pat's nominating Matt, I second.
Any further nominations? If not, we'll call the vote.
Mr. Shenago,
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes. Motion to approve the January 7th, 2019 meeting minutes?
Second,
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner,
yes.
Mr. Shenago,
I need a motion to approve resolution 1201, which is basically the Barnes. They're applying for a grant with the Environmental Protection Agency. We passed this as a commission, but it needed to be done in the solid waste board, so this is just reaffirming that.
Did he move? So moved,
Okay, second.
Mr. Schaffner,
yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenago,
There's no further business to come before the solid waste board. I'll move we adjourn.
Second,
Okay. Sorry.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner,
yes.
Mr. Shenago,
Yes.
Make a motion, we reconvene the commission meeting?
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Sheniga?
Pete?
What I have is, I know we've asked for a surveyor to kind of map out Metro Parks lease. Got it on topo, and basically from our last discussion, what we found out essentially is that this North Woods Park is not part of one of the legal descriptions of the property. So, well, one thing though is, I think we probably need to include it, because otherwise, if we take it out, then we're gonna have to maintain that, which I don't think we want to do. It's also got their, one of the picnic shelters in there.
So everything we're looking at leasing is east of the road?
Yes.
I thought she had made mention that we would have to be responsible for road maintenance if we didn't approve these leases.
That's not part of it. That's already, it's got a separate easement for this driveway.
Separate one. Which references they do the maintenance on, right, Pete?
That's correct.
So, what is this piece? Exhibit A.
That's just a portion along the road that had our former solid waste drop-off boxes there, a little bit to the south of it.
Do you know why that piece was leased to them?
To be honest with you, no, I don't. I can just surmise that just have access to this, yeah, I mean, that doesn't even make any sense, really. There's not even, I was gonna say access back to these trails, but
It doesn't make sense.
that doesn't make sense, to be honest with you.
Well, we at some point may need to bring back, as we move to get our access goal, we may need that spot back. If that's what we end up doing, I don't know that we should be,
Right.
we might wanna hang on to that.
Don't even give them that. So number A, we won't do it all. And then we wanna add something here,
Yeah.
In the
but
wood.
I like your idea of a license. License that's renewed annually. But they didn't, the one she's referring to is not even there. So,
We need them to get a
They need-
legal description for it.
But that's where she had told us this lease was.
Right.
well, she was confused.
Some of those old drawings were hard to say.
And then, where's the other piece we gave? We already
Down
gave,
here.
right there, okay.
Off of Hall Road, used to be the old water tower site, which we've already
That
done.
one's done.
I mean,
All right, well, send it back to her and legal and just get it straight, get our story straight. We're not giving the correct story out of the block.
Yes. Appreciate the suggestions to do a little deeper into this. But I'm sure this will be a surprise to Metro Parks. Okay, that's all I got, gentlemen.
All right, budget work session. Is this? Start now.
Is it not working?
No, it's like.
A lot of these early ones will work with the departments on their preparation, so I asked her to present this morning.
Look
This
at
is
that
my
shiny.
lucky one.
Okay, well, don't do that.
You gotta start with the easy ones?
Always.
Always?
We're really not asking any of them to be, approved at this point, just because it is so early, and when you look at that one sheet.
Lot of blanks.
An awful lot of yellow, which means we haven't met with people that don't have a clue what they're looking for.
So you just wanted,
Kind of just talk.
thank you. What's today's date? Okay. So this is number one.
Change the line.
draft. I usually keep track, I keep these in the drawer.
Change it.
Watch how they evolve.
So that's what that was?
Do you guys want to start with the long sheet first? Okay. As Ed had mentioned, the items on the long sheet, this is a summation just of the general fund. So the items that are in yellow are the ones that we have not met with. They're just set to the original 2019 budget. Ones in orange are ones that we have either met with or we have worked on, so we have some better ideas on where we stand with those. The items that are listed in the 2020 requests, which we call exceptions, those are in the packet, in today's packet. So those items that are listed there are reflected on the detail sheets that we will go over.
Okay.
So down at the bottom, the revenue has been set to what we had in the forecast, and it shows on there what our surplus stands at right now. However, we are extremely early in the game. We don't really know what people are looking for at this point, so I would expect that to change.
And I think it should be noted that there are no capital item requests at all on the first sheet rendition.
Correct,
That's where it usually gets ugly.
correct,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so if there aren't any questions on the long sheet, we can go into the packet. Okay, so first up on the packet, we have the county treasurer. This is her general fund piece. Per policy, her expenses were set to 2019's original budget, which would be the one that was passed on March 31st. She is looking for those values to stay the same for 2020, aside from two exceptions. One of those being her bank service charges. We had to move $2,000 out of her part-time into her bank service charges to cover that, so she's asking for that to be put into her budget initially. As well as for services, the MVP contract, which Harris has, which is our accounting system, has bought out Thomson Reuters. The treasurer pays 25% of that bill, and there is a slight increase as a result of that merge of $1,000 for her portion of it. So I would expect to also see that on the auditor's side as well.
So the salary and benefits
Mhm.
is over the 2019 because it's the normal?
Yes, 2%, and if there were any, qualifying events that would change what their health insurance, all of these are going to reflect what was listed in the open enrollment for 2020.
Any questions? Okay. real
Okay,
estate
the next
stuff.
one is gonna be treasurer's DRETAC. She is not asking for anything outside of, what policy states. She did want to note that she still is continuing to pay the prosecutors, 100% of the non-personnel expenses for him. And she has a projected ending fund balance of $432,762.
Why do I read 471, 561? What's the difference?
Okay, so the difference between those would be, so budget 2020, the revenue amount and also the beginning fund balance come off of budget of 19. So the actual fund balance is reflected in alternate A. So the actual fund balance as of the end of 2019 was $373,000. The way these sheets are built, we look at budget, and then the alternate A is a reflection of what is actually going to happen or what your revised resources may be.
Standalone funds initially include the tax budget revenue estimates, estimated cash balance along with what was predicted to be the revenues for 2020. And then we fine tune those based on the final 2019. If there's anything that they throw at us that may increase or decrease revenues.
So just for future reference, as we start to look at these sheets,
Mhm.
would we always look, when we're looking at fund balance, would we always look at alternate A?
Not necessarily. For beginning balance, yes. Alternate A is gonna reflect any requests that they have, assuming that they're approved. So in this case, yes, because she doesn't have any outside of the box, requests. If there are requests, those will be reflected in that alternate A. You'll see in some of the bigger operations, for example, DOES, you're gonna see an alternate A, B, C, sometimes they'll even stretch out to D. In those, you're gonna wanna understand which column is which.
So you'll point that out to us as.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
So,
I think the revenue number's too high.
that's what I was gonna say, you got 234 in 18 and 175 actual 19.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're bumped back up to 234, and even in alternate A and in the budget. Do you think that should be reduced?
Probably more like 175.
Yeah, I can look and see what she gave us as far as.
Probably, because you'll be more in line with your actuals.
Yeah.
I think they used the July tax
We
budget
did.
number, so that's why
Yeah.
it's probably.
Okay, so yeah, we can go in and adjust that down. I do agree, I think that is high.
Pretty
So
much
that will
should.
reflect in the fund balance as well.
Just because this DRETAC is coming to the surface, maybe with the land bank, is it fair to say then that they're throwing off a cash surplus of what, per year?
Well, last year was essentially about $23,000. Again, and I think the supply numbers, I think probably, I think those maybe could ratchet back a little bit,
Yeah,
closer to actual.
Yeah, that 87.6,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that should be 67.6,
70, just.
70.
Anything else to discuss on DRETAC?
Not till we get to the prosecutor's budget.
Agreed. He's not in this packet.
Then no.
Okay, so page 3 is the treasurer's prepaid account. She is asking for a new copier to replace an old one that she has at a cost of $5,800. Looking back at that, we should probably just bake that into her supplies instead of listing as a separate request. So when we are talking about alternate A, as far as the fund balance goes, this shows 64,000. However, it's probably closer to 70 because we're just gonna bake that right into that 20.
Why do you do 20 when you're only spending 2,300, 0 and 18, and 5,100?
She likes to have that budgeted in there, just as an in-case type of a thing.
Not DRETAC?
No, this is her prepaid. It's separate from DRETAC. So she has her general fund piece, she has her DRETAC piece, and she has her prepaid piece.
Any comment? Okay, recorder?
Okay.
I mean, I do, I'll be honest with you. She's not showing any wages and benefits in there, and I guarantee you, her staff has to spend time running that program. I mean, I understand if there's a trade-off between, charging salaries and benefits and other expenses instead of that, fine, but I think that probably needs to be more reflective of what the actual activity is, and I guarantee you, those people spend time doing this. There's a fair amount of people that are on this list that are that are on this program, paying monthly payment as opposed to, when they get their tax bills twice a year.
So to make it more accurate, maybe the supplies should be less and the salary should be more?
Or if, if she doesn't want to sign any salaries, then fine, then a fair amount of supplies or services should be charged to this in place of that.
The only caveat to that is I think there's rules and restrictions on what she can and cannot charge to this account.
Well, I don't
We
think
could
so.
find out.
I don't think so.
Okay,
It should be reflective of the cost of the program.
okay.
I think it's that simple.
Work with them and
Yeah.
get it all, get a new proposal.
Mhm.
Recorder?
Okay, so recorder, It's within policy. She's just requesting the same amount that she had last year, nothing outside of the ordinary on her general fund piece.
Comments? Recorder's equipment fund?
Okay, so inside her equipment fund, she had an increase in her salaries and benefits. That is as a result of her pulling some of her general fund wages into that fund. She had someone who was essentially doing burning of CDs and scanning and things like that. She was able to grab an existing general fund employee when the person that was specifically doing that left, and allocated some of that salary over then to the equipment fund. Dollar for dollar, there was not any personnel cost increase. It just was her shifting the money over. She is requesting a scanning project for this year of $38,500. The request is to image 52 index books. This is a rough estimate at this point. She's still talking to them to see what the actual cost is gonna be. 52 index books.
Can we do what we did with the?
I'm assuming they're the same thing.
This really expensive microfilming thing, scanner.
Quite possibly.
Maybe
Mhm.
us do that rather than spend 38,000.
It's worth the conversation.
I mean, I know, I worked for Levada.
Mhm. I don't know if there's, something different with this.
Yeah, they already have an existing system to do that.
Why don't they do it?
Well, I think they're paying a vendor to do it.
What's that?
I think they're paying a vendor to do it,
Right now?
yeah.
We have a microfilming department. Why don't we use our microfilming department? Right? I mean, it makes a lot more sense than paying a vendor when you have, why have a department if you're gonna put out the work?
In the email that she sent me, they use US Imaging, and they're currently doing an imaging project for them, which I think is what we had approved last year. And then now they're doing an estimate.
But we didn't have that super awesome scanner last
Right.
year.
Right. So,
Probably should talk to them.
We can have a discussion with her, sure.
Yeah.
okay, she is also requesting 7 new PCs to replace old ones for $12,000. She's been working with IT on this. Those 7 PCs are out of warranty. Tim is recommending that those be replaced.
What does that mean, out of warranty?
It's just kind of like your car, 36,000, 3-year, it's out of warranty.
I don't throw my car away.
Agreed.
Probably dealing more with support for it, and I don't know this, but if it's like Windows 7 or something like that, and they haven't updated the software, so if you keep them, you gotta update stuff. I don't know the details to this, but usually that's how those.
Yeah, I thought we said a couple years ago we were gonna get out of this batch, throw away and replace an entire office, just as a machine. Once it goes out of warranty, as a machine goes down, or gets to a point where they're spending 100 hours fixing it.
Or if the software's
get 'em a
wrong,
new
like
one.
Steve said, but. it's
She,
3 years old.
to add a little more meat to this, she needed to add battery backups to it, and she has an email that has Tim's approval. Per Tim, yes, they are out of warranty. We have now been trying to get 6 to 7 years out of the PCs, so replacing at the end of the year is fine with me.
So there's more than 7 years old?
Yes,
They are.
yeah.
That's old.
So Tim is saying, we're trying to get 6 to 7 years out of these PCs.
Yeah.
So they are at 6 to 7 years, and so that's why he's saying he's fine with doing it at the end of this year, meaning 2019.
Okay.
And she's buying it out of her, so this isn't coming out of our
Correct,
computer.
yes.
Right.
Correct.
Well, no, she has zero budget under, is she buying it under supplies, is that what you're saying?
I currently have it under capital, but I'm thinking that's probably more of a supply. When we look at them, the whole package is 12,000, but when you break them apart individually, we're under that cap, so they would be baked then into the supplies. Currently, it's reflected in the capital column under alternate A. And she, even after that 12,000 and after the scanning contract increase, she'll have a fund balance of 117,000. So if we're gonna pull back some of that 38.5 or all of that 38.5, that would add on to that projected fund. That would be, if we did everything she was requesting,
I'm saying
yeah,
Maybe we could do it for her for free and
Right.
save her the money out
Right.
of the budget.
right. Okay, questions on equipment fund? Okay, county court general fund piece. Inside here, same thing, we have set the expenses, they're requesting them to stay what the original 2019 budget was. They do have two requests, one of those is an increase in office supplies for new supplies for the incoming judge of 2,000. Keep in mind that Judge Lux was the one that, we met with. Newly elected Judge Cam was also in attendance. So these are, you know, like an input really more from Lux than from Cam. I did send this over to Cam. I didn't get any, you know, changes on it or any confirmation. So at this point, I'm leaving it as we had discussed in the meeting. They're also asking for additional travel for the new judge and for their, one of their employees to attend additional seminars. She is, I guess their fiscal, I don't really know all of.
Clerk.
Clerk.
She's clerk of the court.
And she's a part-timer with that, so. Questions on that?
My thing is, I'm looking at actual expenses and salaries and benefits are quite a bit lower than the budget number. I mean, maybe we can trade off some of that for some of the additional piece they want. I think you guys should actually circle back with Judge Cam on this budget. And get more, his input, and since he is responsible for that office now.
Okay.
Probably the same on capital too.
Do we have sinkholes in the parking lot?
But, yeah, we didn't fall in any.
I was
when
gonna
we were
say,
there.
I mean, I drove through there, I didn't see any.
But apparently there's been settling.
$70,000 worth, or it's probably the sound system?
Old numbers. Not,
What's wrong with the sound system out there? That's a brand new.
Lux said he had a hard time hearing the, like, when they were, I don't know, giving their testimony or whatnot. He said Cam may not have that issue. I mean, he actually came out and said that. So, I mean, I think it's probably more up to Cam to see if there truly is an issue with the sound system.
Let's circle back.
Okay,
And I will go out.
Yeah, we'll
myself
go have a
and look at
listen.
the sinkholes.
okay,
I'll go look at the sinkholes.
I'll go listen to the sound system.
okay, fair enough.
See how it works.
Okay.
Probate court.
Okay, so under probate, same thing, we have set it to, policy up on the top. They do have a bunch of requests down below. One of them is a rate increase for an employee. So when we did the 2% rate increase on the employee compensation form that was sent over to the auditor's office, there was an employee that they gave an additional amount above the 2%. It was $1.31, I believe. I don't know if you guys want to talk about personnel in open session, but that is what's reflected there. So that's the additional for that particular employee.
I thought we just did all this last year, didn't we?
Wait. That you're down in alternate A?
Yes, down in their request.
But why, so the bump from actual 18 of 393 up to 420 actual,
Mm-hmm.
what's that?
That was,
That's just the 2%?
No.
no, that would have been,
That's what we did.
that was with the retirement of, I'm trying to
It's
think.
everything.
Somebody
Yes,
else
thank you.
had that other-
The retirement of Cindy and then with the replacement of Kate.
Okay.
There was a lot of shifting that happened between 18 into 19.
So then is the $1,000 budget, is that the 2%?
Yeah, the additional,
$1,000?
In other words, actual 420 to 421.
yes.
That's not 2%, is it? I'm not.
Judge McGookie's administrator didn't change her hours, but it was requested in the latter part of 19 to put in more hours to keep up with the demand.
So she was working, let's say, 4 days a week last year, now she's back to working 3 days a week?
No, she's planning
No,
to,
opposite.
it was the other way. She started off working fewer hours, and then she was gonna go work up to like the max,
That was in
insurance.
19 though, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was this past year's, like the last quarter
Well,
of
no,
the year.
that's not what Matt's asking. If your end actual was 424.66 for 19, that would have included all the rigmarole that went on. But then you got.
100% of what they asked for. At the latter part of the year, when they came back, after we'd gone through several months, they asked for some additional costs. She never actually increased her hours like she had asked for.
It's the health insurance.
What we're getting at is that there's not enough
It's health
money
insurance.
difference between 420 and 421 to compensate all the employees in 2%.
What I'm,
plus this.
yeah, so it's on the health insurance. So they had someone that was on a family plan that retired, okay?
Yeah.
And then now they have a part-timer, so she doesn't have insurance,
Got it.
okay? So that's where that eats it up, okay?
Makes sense.
Yep. Okay, so that's what the first personnel request is. The second one is, they're requesting a lump sum payment of longevity, which is similar to what other departments do, not all, but some. However, inside of there, they've already given those longevity rate increases to those employees. So I'm not really sure why they're requesting to do then a lump sum payment if that's already baked into their rate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
When I went back
'cause
through, they'd
I know we
already,
have some offices that, yeah, they don't pay it out through the year and then they pay them on a lump sum, but as long as we've got it cooked into the budget anyway, doesn't make any difference.
agreed. That's why it's listed as an exception right now.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
Okay, so the next request is a supply request. It's for a new copier to replace the old one. 6,100, that would be earmarked as a one-time going into next year.
Didn't somebody else just get a copier for 5,200 or 5,800?
Copiers, yeah, that was Pam's.
Why don't we get that one?
Copiers are a big thing this year. We're seeing a lot
Well,
of,
the other thing is, I always,
Bulk By the 50.
again, I question is why buy when you can lease and, you know, and when you lease, you're not necessarily trapped into the technology increases that happen over the, 4 or 5 years.
Service.
Yeah.
Pam said, according to Pam, she said it's cheaper for her to purchase it because she can get it to last a lot longer.
But then why didn't we do that here at the commissioner's office?
I don't know what the deal was.
Why don't you propose the deal that we did?
Okay.
Carolyn did.
Or if we're gonna buy 10 copiers. then
Let's
get-
buy them in bulk. Yeah,
Let's try to get a deal and buy 10 copiers rather than
Yeah.
buy a bunch of individual ones.
The service plans depend on how many copies you include in it.
Yeah.
So an office that uses a lot more copiers, or a lot more copies, would pay more for the service plan, because it includes X number of copies. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
But this is just buying the copier, it's not.
correct. That's not for the service agreement. This would just be for the actual hardware
I
itself.
have to think that our Carolyn has researched this to death.
Okay,
Worth talking to them.
yep,
Can we go back up to
Sure.
services?
yep.
We're looking at actual 1734, actual 1831.
Mhm.
Budget 19 was 38, then we jump up to 43. What is the accounting for that?
Mental health attorneys.
What is it?
Mental health attorneys. She's saying she's gonna need just, about 10 grand additional for them,
That's because the mental health board used to pay that and they're no longer doing that.
correct?
Oh, good
And
point.
you call that mental health attorneys, what's the real name?
We just put under legal services, I just have that as the note, as the description.
For that, what's it called?
Guardians.
Guardians.
Well, what? Wait a minute, I'm confused. So we took the money away from her, from the mental health board, took the money away that they used to pay?
Well, they must have. It would be $10,000 roughly, right?
Mhm.
That's the-
Yep.
They have a separate indigent guardian account.
Who?
Or it's not in the general fund, and I know we've had to, some years, give them additional money that we would put in the general fund.
Well, it sounds like we need
did
to.
comment at the meeting that that account was pretty low, pretty much it depleted it.
Is it just, you do like a one-time shot of money and then you just burn that? Or does it have a reoccurring revenue stream?
They have a reoccurring revenue stream, but it does not appear to be.
Where does that money come from?
It's
in a well, that comes from,
It's probably from fees that they charge at the court. It's set by by statute.
So every so often, it gets burned down that we put a general fund injection into that account.
Well, we pay it out of the general fund instead of out of that account.
Which is this $10,000.
Yeah.
But Gary, didn't they always used to give them money for these lawyers back when you were on the mental health board?
He did.
Yeah, I'm almost sure that, because Brenda told me she was
Yeah, I
gonna
don't know
cut
how
this
much
out.
it was, or.
Well, can we send another request letter? Did we get an answer yet on the sheriff's money?
Not that I'm aware of.
We might need to go
So-
to get on the agenda at the mental health board and talk about some of this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's costing us money over there, now it's costing money here. And these are for people that have mental health problems? I don't understand this, but, I mean, I'm assuming.
Yeah. They've been put under guardianship.
Well, and they have millions and millions of dollars sitting there right now.
Yeah, we can find some uses for people who need that money that the taxpayers voted in to help people with mental health problems. Well, put a little asterisk by that number, and
Mm-hmm, yep.
Pete, we need to do a little more on this.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine.
That's a good question.
Okay, so the next request under the supplies is expert attorneys for special cases. So these special cases are for like shaking baby cases, and they have to bring in experts that can determine what happens, what could be the potential effects. They have had quite a few of these cases that are already happening, so they have had to pay for these experts. So that's where this money is.
Is this in the capacity of the probate court, or the
Yes.
general, just the general, would Roger and Ty have these cases too?
I'm not sure if they get passed, down, just because it's,
That sounds like a criminal case, which,
Yeah, that was getting a third of the criminal cases
Right.
now, which she never used to.
So what-
It may be part of that, I don't know.
But, I mean, if she's getting a third, why don't we just take this, like, where did all this shaken baby cases go last year versus this year?
I don't know if there weren't any, or they were, absorbing them in there.
$16,000.
Hold on.
Well, why don't one of you guys call Judge Tone and Judge Bennett, find out where they get expert attorneys? Where's their money coming from? I guess it's probably in
It's
their budget.
$8,000, for each expert. Now, I don't know what that entails, how much, and there's two of them, which is where they're coming up with 16.
These are in 2020?
They're going on right now, in, that we're in
well,
19.
usually if the prosecution needs experts, they pay for that. Okay, and if it's for the defense, then that's something that really should be going through the public defender's office.
Okay,
Or these may be subject to assigned counsel fee and reimbursement through the state, if it's on the defense side.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Why would the court pay for it?
Exactly, why would the court do it? Other than they made the journal entry, if you will, to say,
We need
we're
an
gonna,
expert.
the defense is gonna get hired, expert counsel from the court. Essentially, that's assigned counsel. And we should be getting a reimbursement for that.
okay.
Why hasn't it happened in the past?
Or maybe it has, and that's why we haven't seen it previously.
Yeah, I don't know. So how, in this particular case, how do we
Mhm.
find out about these things? You gonna go back and ask?
Yes, mm-hmm, yep. Okay, they are also asking for an increase in travel of 1,700.
What's their travel budget now?
It's currently,
Why don't we have a line item for travel on these budget sheets, so it's glaring what each office is.
because we don't break it apart.
Part of the supply, it's just,
$7,037.
Huh?
$7,037 is currently what their budget is for travel.
That seems like a lot. Is that a lot?
that's her name.
What is Judge Bennett and Judge Tone's travel?
I don't have their files in front of me this time, but I can get you a breakout of what all, I think we did that last year as an exercise. We went through all the travel budgets and pulled out, this is what everybody has.
Yeah, you got that sheet?
I don't have it handy, but I can get it.
Next time.
Just give it to
Yeah,
me.
sure. Yep. Do you want them for all inside general fund?
The heck. Well, maybe you could do noted here what travel is for everybody, instead of burying it under services.
We can put it as a note, just how we have a note on here, which is one additional thing to add. So they are very much in support and encouraging the sharing of certain court costs, such as their jury fees and things like that. They're wanting to kind of take the pool mentality like we do with the capital murder case money, put it into one account, and then we pull as needed. They are very much in support of that. That's why I have a note on there about that. But yeah, we can list the travel on there.
I hope the other courts have the same note.
I wouldn't bet on that.
Bummer.
Okay. If you guys are ready to move, we can move to public defender. Page 9. Public defender, he actually, if you look in his alternate A, has reduced his supplies and services. He's not needing as much as he did need last year. However, he has a personnel request for a parity increase for 2020 of $152,879. There was a letter that was presented to the commissioners as well as there were other folks that were listed on there detailing it out. I believe this may be a conversation that we need to have with him. I can provide how I got to that number, but I have all the backup to it. But I think it's something we need to have a discussion on. Probably not something for today.
Yeah, we're gonna need to see that sheet, but yeah.
Yes.
Right now.
Okay. Should I have him schedule a session for that?
I think so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He said he was more than willing to come in and talk about it, so.
Conservation here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, and then the last page in the packet is page 10. This is the Erie Conservation District. So on here, they are kind of a different animal in that we provide them an allocation from the county, and then they get additional match from the state, currently expected to be 72%. And then they have some other sources that come in as well, from grants and things like that. The request for this year is to have their allocation from the county be $117,898, which is the same that it was in 2019.
Okay.
And that's all that I have.
Any comments?
Barb Sessler made a point to talk about the fact that because we reimburse folks that are allowed to travel, that we end up having to reimburse them for their taxes. But if it was prepaid, we could avoid paying
I
those
think
taxes.
he's having some of this conversation with Brenda.
But I think part of the concern is if people prepay and then they don't go, of course, we're out the funds. And I don't know how often that happens.
Are you working with the auditor's office on this, or do you have an answer? Because I know Rick Jeffrey had some thoughts on this. It's not.
This
terrible-
was,
not a bad point.
this was more about trying to take advantage of, using some of these booking services and getting lower hotel rates as opposed to prepaying.
Well, plus we would get the tax exempt, you wouldn't have to pay the 20% bed tax in Columbus.
True.
whatever it is.
That wasn't necessarily part of the conversation that we
Well,
had.
that's what Rick had said to me. But are you still working on that?
I mean, we pretty much gave them the go-ahead to use these booking services because, when you use one of them, when you go to the hotel, they're not gonna give you a receipt. So we have to do something a little bit different as far as the reimbursement process. And that's the piece we kinda worked on and kinda settled on. But it really wasn't much to do with the, getting the tax exemption and prepaying.
Well, Rick has some thoughts on that. Maybe we should talk to him. Gonna do resolutions?
One other thing, again, we have our meeting scheduled. We have one for the 23rd. There was a discussion to have that moved, kind of moved up to the 22nd.
Fine.
Everybody's okay with that? We'll get that out there. Aaron,
Same time.
same time.
I have a motion to do that.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Ready? Motion to move the Thursday, January 23rd meeting to Wednesday, the 22nd.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Motion to reappoint Tom Tucker to the Extraordinary Fee Committee for 2020.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Yes.
Motion to make the following appointments to the following committees and boards, and I believe they're staying with what we had last year in 2019.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Yes.
Move for adoption resolution, the Board of Commissioners, for the purpose of making appointments to the County Board of Revision in the absence of member of the Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Move for adoption resolution, Board of Commissioners, for the purpose of entering into an agreement with Johnson Controls.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Yes.
Move for adoption resolution, the Board of Commissioners, for the purpose of entering into an agreement with Brady Sign Company.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Move for adoption resolution, Board of Commissioners, for the purpose of reappointing Troy Livengood as bee inspector for the year 2020.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Move for adoption resolution, Board of Commissioners, for the purpose of entering into an agreement with Plant and Moran LLP.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Yes.
Move for adoption resolution, Board of Commissioners, for the purpose of designating a voting representative and alternate to the County Risk Sharing Authority.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Move for adoption resolution, Board of Commissioners designating the official representative and alternate to vote at the annual meeting of the County Commissioners Association of Ohio.
Second.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
That's all I have.
Did we ever vote on the lessee appointment for the Board of Commissioners? I know it was brought up by Larry, and I said to hold off and just put it on our sheet when we do committees, but I didn't see that.
I'm not sure.
Okay, if we haven't done it, I would make a motion that we retain Pat Shenigo for another year as a lessee representative.
Second.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
And then let it be noted, it needs to be put on that list, you know, just so, that's just in our normal rotation of committee assignment. Is there any public comment? Thanks for coming out. Congratulations. One down. I'll make a motion, we go into executive session regarding pending litigation with Gary.
Second.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Yes. Come out of executive session.
Second.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shennick?